Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade today, giving a lowdown on the latest news about leaks for a potential Oblivion remake, not a remaster. Lots of stuff's been going on with fresh new stuff happening, basically confirmation from different sources now that the actual remake remaster of Elder Scrolls Oblivion could be coming sooner than what originally may have been reported a few months ago. The latest is that it might be actually dropping next month instead of June. Of course, take this kind of stuff with a pinch of salt. We don't know for sure because it's not official, and if you don't like that kind of talk, then maybe don't click on this type of video. But I don't really see any harm in talking about something, especially when we're starting to get more corroborative sources detailing exactly what's going to go on if this turns out to be true. And why not get a bit excited for something I think a lot of people would really appreciate. The game, original at least, is over 15 years old at this point. Who doesn't want to see a remaster? I certainly would love to. It's actually a game that I never gelled with as much as Skyrim, and I would love the opportunity to play a revamped modern version, even if it's only maybe got a few of the elements changed, still enough to really draw me in. Absolutely love Skyrim. I've never been one of these content creators though that lives and dies by one game, and I covered its anniversary release with all of that DLC content that got added as content creator packs for free, and you guys seem to love it, as over 10,000 of you subscribed to the channel watching all my guides. But that was like 3 years ago now, and I haven't made another Skyrim video since. My channel has always had more of a focus on survival games, but I have always wanted to get back into or more of action RPGs, so what better way than to maybe cover Oblivion if it ends up being true and delivering the same kind of content I did for Skyrim Anniversary. So waffle, let's get into the hard leaks and news and info we've got. Hazard Gaming has repeated what's been going around on Twitter for the last few days from Nate the Hate, a renowned insider with a good reputation for leaks, that yes, it looks like we're going to get the actual remaster pretty much next month. I was actually going to report on this a few weeks ago because the original date that we were given, potentially for this to be announced at least, was going to be coming in June. But according to various sources now and corroborated by another separate source in VGC Gaming, it does look like we will see an announcement next month. The June date was always, I guess, earmarked because it's going to be like a big Xbox showcase, as always in the summer, announcing a bunch of stuff to do with E3, not E3 anymore. So the news of an Oblivion remake or remaster was actually announced a good few years ago during the buyout of Bethesda by Microsoft. In the court documents detailing a lot of their plans, it revealed a bunch of information, including the Doom new game, which obviously is out in a few months too, albeit with a new name. Of course, Starfield, which did end up being like 2 years later. We still haven't seen Elder Scrolls 6, but some of the other games obviously did launch and did come out, although Dishonored 3 is still probably something that we might not ever see after the shutdown of some of the Arcane studios. And perhaps because of some of the stuff that didn't actually arrive or got changed quite a lot, some people have maybe discredited some of the stuff that came from them court documents or listed it as just plans that have maybe been cancelled or changed. But back in January, this website pretty much detailed a whole bunch of information from an artist that was working at Virtuous, a basically port team that does a huge amount of jobs supporting games, making new games, but also, yes, remaking a bunch. It didn't list the website, but lots of this ended up being found anyway, and it detailed a whole bunch of stuff that would actually be arriving with this fully remade Oblivion remake, but now in Unreal Engine. Huge systems will now be reworked, including stamina, sneak, blocking, archery, hit reactions, and the HUD. Reportedly, they'd be reworking the system to be a little bit more Souls-like, and ACT, which most assume to be like Assassin's Creed Trilogy, although I'm still not convinced 100% by that analogy or that shortening of it. With the wording that the original system was considered too boring and frustrating, sneak icons are now highlighted in improvised sneak system, and the damage calculation methods have been reworked. The stamina system was modified to be less frustrating for the player, making the knockdown that occurs when stamina is depleted more difficult to activate through changes in calculation methods, and the HUD was changed to make it easier to understand and more aesthetically appealing to young players. Hit reactions were also added to improve the response to damage inflicted on the player and NPCs, and finally archery has been improved to make it more playable and modern in both third and first person viewpoints. So according to this report, and again other stuff corroborated by people that found this developer's page, this does point to a full remake rather than just a remaster, like you've seen obviously as it's exampled here, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy that Grove Street Games did that got kinda crapped on. And with good reason. We've seen a lot of these remasters maybe not offering the kind of value warranted for the price, even if the games are relatively old or maybe trying to appeal to a newer audience. There are a few caveats on why people have sort of still dismissed this. Todd Howard has come out in a bunch of interviews saying that they're not looking to really go ahead and remake or remaster any of their previous Fallout games. But that was distinctly in that interview talking about the first 2 Fallout games. He said it would probably be too difficult and it just maybe wasn't the value or something they wanted to see happen. But some of these court listings also listed Fallout 3 as a possible remaster, and again that's rumours that have been swirling around. But Oblivion has been the more concrete one, a kind of open secret in the gaming industry, not wanting to fall foul of Bethesda, notorious for blacklisting certain outlets for revealing or releasing info when they shouldn't be. So I hope I'm not at risk here. I'm only just talking about potential leaks that we've seen, not actually releasing a leak myself. But I would really love to get hands on this and play it and showcase it, because it was something that I just didn't gel with. To be brutally honest, it just felt a bit too old and a bit clunky playing it on the Xbox 360, which is how I experienced it for the first time after playing Skyrim, wanting to dive deeper into it. Until then I'd been like a COD and FIFA boy, Driver, the Getaway from PlayStation days, puzzle games and more, until I started to get into more open world and then eventually survival games. Does raise the question of what's going to happen to the poor Skyblivion remake that's happening. It's a mod that's been made in the Skyrim engine, but it is basically porting the Oblivion game into it. It's been going for a number of years and it'd be such a shame if this impacted that in some way, but of course it will be a free mod, and if it does not get canned by Bethesda somehow, it'd still be really cool to see this if players who've got Skyrim could download this mod. But of course a full remake given the green light by Bethesda themselves has got to be something worth taking a look at. And there is much to improve. I never tried to be or claim to be some sort of mad lore expert on Skyrim. In fact, a lot of people get annoyed at the way that I pronounce so many of the different items and place names in the actual game videos I've done. But I do love the world of Skyrim at least, and I'm obviously eagerly looking forward to what they might do with the Elder Scrolls 6. I did cover ESO when it first launched on consoles, and that was actually the start of my YouTube journey. So I've got some skin in the game and I would be desperate to get a chance to see if I could play this and give it a good review. Would it actually be worth people's money and time 15 years later with a brand new engine? It does worry me that though. If we're still going to be using the creation engine for Elder Scrolls 6, why have they kind of loaned this out for a team to start in a new one? Is it simply because obviously